Hi everyone, Neve here, and today I'm going to blindly rank 10 of my decks. So this, it's not really a tag, it's not really a tarot tag, it's just an activity that was started by Fairlight Tarot, I believe. So yeah, and basically you have someone in your life go into your stash, your deck collection, and pick out 10 decks, and they don't tell you what they are, and and then you blindly rank them. So, and then at the end, go through and see what you would have changed having known what the decks are. So I have I live in a household of 5 people. It's myself, my husband, and our 3 kids. And my kids are older. They're like 17, 14, and 11, almost 12. And so I had my kids come in here and pick out 2 decks each. And then I had my husband come in and pick out 4 decks, and then he put them all right here and covered them, and then put a big blanket over all my decks that I pulled out on the ground here. So I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's over there. But anyway, so a few caveats on this. I did leave out a few decks, and so one, I left out the Eldritch Overload, and that's because that's my nightly reader for this week, and I didn't want to disrupt it from my bedroom. Yeah, because I had them do all of this last night, and so I'm filming this the next day, and so I wanted to have my nightly reader. So that's not in, I know that that's not in this. I also left out decks that are like brand new to me that I haven't even used yet. And I figured because I hadn't used them, I couldn't really rank them. So those are not in this. And I also, if something came as part of a set, so let's say the green glyphs, you know, it's a whole set. It's like 4 different decks, but they're all pretty similar. I only pulled out one of those to keep in that collection for them to pull from, because knowing my luck with my family, if I had kept like all 4 of those in there, like I would see 2, 3, maybe even all 4 in here, and yeah, I didn't want something like that to happen. So I tried to make sure if some decks were part of a collection, that I only kept one of them in there, and yeah. But I remembered a few later on, so I think there's a chance that there's some decks in here from the same collection, so we'll see. All right, so I have a piece of paper here that I'm going to write down what my rankings are, but I'm also going to put them on the screen here or here. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, and I will later on film a top view of me flipping through these decks to overlay, so we're not going to see me the whole time. All right, so let's get this started. So here we go. All right. So I have no idea what's under this cloth, and all my other decks have a blanket over them, so I don't know what's left over there, and I know which ones are not part of this pull. So here we go. Let's do the first one. All right, grab this one. All right, the Urban Crow. So the Urban Crow. Okay, so this is actually a really good deck. Yeah, I'm gonna have. I think I'm gonna have the camera top on this, but yeah. So this is actually a really good deck. I really like how simple the keywords are, and there's not too much on there. And because I find sometimes with Oracle decks, it's kind of a double-edged thing, because sometimes it's nice to have multiple keywords on a card and you can utilize them in certain ways, or having a phrase or whatever on the card, and because it gives you basically all the information right there. There's not a whole lot of work you have to do. You don't necessarily have to go into the guidebook or anything like that. And a lot of people don't like decks like this where it's just one keyword. But the keywords on this are actually pretty good, you know. And I feel like there's a lot you can get from this deck, from these cards. Yeah, and plus it's the crows, and I kind of got this deck to maybe sort of go with my Crow Tarot. I like this deck, and I really enjoy MJ Cullinane's work. It's a kind of collage that I really enjoy. Where am I going to rank this? The cardstock's really nice. I don't usually use it with my Crow Tarot, though. And it is a deck that goes well with a lot of my other decks. So, let's rank this. Where would I rank this? Oh, dear. Now it comes the hard part. So, the Crow Tarot, or not Crow Tarot, the Urban Crow. I'm going to rank this. I think my gut is saying 7. Because there's a bunch of other decks that I would probably rank higher than this, but I feel like I'm shortchanging this deck by giving it a 7. That's my gut though. My gut is 7. All right, so we have the first one down. Urban Crow, number 7. All right, next one. Let's see what we have. Oh, I already know what this is. I'm gonna have to pull this out. Okay, this is, it's in a box. I hope to someday make a bag for this, but this is the Brian Froud's Fairies Oracle. Yeah, all right. So, what would I rank this? Okay, so we're going to do the top-down view of this. This is a great deck. It really is. It's a great deck. But this is a deck that you really, really need the guidebook for, or doing your own sort of path working to figure out. This is a deck that I've had this deck for ages and ages, well over a decade. I've had this deck for an extremely long time. The cardstock is super flimsy. It's very thin, but that makes it easy to shuffle. The artwork is absolutely stunning. I mean, I don't know if you can see in the top-down view that I'm going to put over top this, but I have a bunch of Brian Froud tattoos on my arm. So I'm really into his artwork. And there is something very deep about this deck, and very connected to that sort of Fae energy. Even though I don't really see Fae as winged Victorian creatures, this, like, Brian Froud's interpretation of the Fae people, I think, aside from some of those superficial things like wings and pointy ears, things like that, I think it's very true to the energy of the Fae, to the good people. And it's got that dark energy as well that I feel like a lot of fairy decks miss, because a lot of them go for that Victorian cutesy fairy stuff. So, but this is a deck that's very difficult to use, just like it is not a beginner's deck, and I've never actually done a full study of this. I do occasionally like to bring it out for to pair with some decks, but it's a guidebook heavy deck. So this is a deck that most people really need the guidebook for, unless you do a very intensive study of this deck. So I'm actually going to rank this a little low because of that. I mean, the artwork is absolutely stunning, but I think I'm going to rank this kind of low. I think I'm going to go with 9 on the Brian Froud's Fairies Oracle. So let's do Fairies Oracle. Okay, so we've got 2 down. The number 7 is the Urban Crow Oracle. Number 9 is Fairies Oracle. So we've gotten 2 oracles so far. Let's look at the next one. All right, so I'm gonna go over on this end now. Let's see. Okay, I feel a bag. Let's pull out a bag. Oh, it's getting snagged on some things. All right. Good one. Oh my gosh, I love this one. This is the Alice in Wonder. It's not called Alice in Wonderland. It's an Alice in Wonderland themed deck, but it is the Wonder World Tarot. So we've got a tarot. Yay! All right, so let's look at this deck. Yeah. So this is this is the Wonder World Tarot, and it is a really nice deck. I love the cardstock on this. This is, you know, I've been looking for an Alice in Wonderland themed deck for quite some time, and there's tons of them because the world of Alice just lends itself very well to the occult community, the pagan community, the tarot community, all of that. Like this, the story of Alice, the feel of the world, it's very much connected, I think, to our sort of world here. And so, and I'm not even like a Alice in Wonderland like super fan or anything, but yeah, there's something magical about the world of Alice here. And I had searched for quite some time trying to find a deck that a deck, an Alice deck that I connected to. And there's a lot of really great ones out there, but then I found this one, and it's by Push Kitty, and it's kind of cartoony, kind of silly a little bit, very whimsical, but also very serious too. Like there is a seriousness to this deck, and it was a quick favorite in my collection, and so because of that, I think I'm going to rank this pretty high. The cardstock is also really nice. It's that soft touch or rose petal finish sort of cardstock, but it's very nicely done. It's very I don't have any issues shuffling this deck, so I don't have usability issues with this deck. I love the imagery, I love the art, I love the Alice in Wonderland story, so yeah, I think this is going to be pretty high. All right, so where am I going to rank this one? Okay, so this is going to be a top 3 deck. Oh dear. You know what? I'm going to go with 3. Because, like my favorite deck, as you all know, that I have is the Anna Kay. So just in case that's in here, maybe I'll leave, you know, one open for a little bit. We'll see. But if my Star Trek deck is in here, that's going to be in a 1 or 2 spot as well. So I think we're going to go with, rank number 3 for the Wonder World, Tarot. All right. Okay, just had to pause the video because my kids came out to make breakfast, and they decided to make smoothies. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to pause this. All right, so what we have so far, we have Wonder World Tarot at 3, we have Urban Crow Oracle at 7, and we have Fairies Oracle at 9. So next deck. All right, let's go all the way over here and do this deck way over here. I can feel that there's an embroidery on it. Oh, I know what this is. I already know what this is. Oh, it is the Goblins and Gardens. The Goblins and Gardens Tarot. Oh my gosh, this is going to be high too. Oh man. Would I have put this higher than the Wonder World? That's tough. All right, so let me pull this out. We'll do a top view and we'll look at this deck. All right, let's do it. Okay, so this deck is really freaking cool. You know, it's a really neat deck. It's a combination of images from old D&D magazines and things like that. Black and white. It's very sketchy. Sorry if you're hearing noises, by the way. My kids are still getting their breakfasts. Yeah, so there's a lot of that sort of imagery in here. Lots of goblins and D&D creatures. And it's collaged with garden imagery, which is an interesting combination, but it really works. Like I really enjoy this deck. It's a lot of fun. The cardstock is also great. The gilding's really nice. Yeah, gosh, I really like this deck a lot, and I've been using it a lot recently. All right. So, all right, I'm going to do a few more flip throughs, and I think we'll go back to me in front of the camera here. Okay, where am I going to put this? I think I have a solid number for this because I don't think it's in my top 2. I think it's pretty interchangeable with the Wonderworld Tarot, so I think I'm going to put this at a 4. So we're going to put this on at 4. So Goblins and Gardens Tarot. All right, so let's put this away and we'll do the next one. Also, I just want to add that I absolutely adore the bag that I made for this. Yeah, it's really cool. It's got the garden imagery all over it, and then in the front I embroidered on top of a like burlap fabric. I embroidered this sketchy looking dragon that I thought really fit with the deck. So yeah, love the bag. I feel like the bag even like brings up the score of this deck. All right, so let's put this away and we'll grab the next one. Okay, so let's pull the next one. Let's go right in the middle. I'm grabbing just a random deck here. Okay. Oh, this one. Oh, this is fun. Okay, I bet my husband picked this one. Because my husband's actually the one who got me this deck. This is the Grunge Tarot, and I love the bag that I made for it. It's like a mixtape, and it zippers. It's very different from all the other bags that I've made, which are all pretty much drawstring. This one, I just, you know, I really wanted to go with this mixtape pattern, and then the fabric itself is all a bunch of mixed tapes too. So I don't know, I love the bag. All right, so let's do a top view of this deck. So this deck is actually really great. I love this deck. It's just, here's where it's, you know, gonna be somewhat lower. The cardstock sucks. The cardstock sucks. Yeah, it's just not great. You know, the cardstock is a little stiff. It's not very bendy. It's kind of, I don't know if cardboard is the right word, but it's just not my favorite cardstock. We'll put it that way. And it's something that I've wanted to, that I want to trim eventually, take off all the borders, because I cannot shuffle this deck. It's just too large for my hands, and I think the cards are too thick. So, you know, chopping them down to size is probably not going to help that very much with the thickness, but it might make it at least a little bit easier for me to shuffle. So I'll probably do that. And I don't like the backs at all. I really don't like the backs of this deck. But I love the colors of this deck. I love the theme. I love the sentimental value that this deck brings me. I love the bag that I made for it. The guidebook's pretty cool. I love the art in it. I love the limited colors. There's a lot I love about this deck, but there are several things about this deck that I wish were different. All right, so where are we going to rank that? I'm going to go with 8 on this, and I feel good about that. I feel good about that choice. I think 8's a good choice for this one. So, Grunge Tarot. All right, so let's put that away. And I won't fiddle with this too much. I'll just put it quickly in the bag and set it down. And let's pull out another one. All right, so let's go all the way to the end. I'm going to go all the way to the end. Yeah. All right, I can feel a bag. Here we go. Let's pull this out. Oh, okay. So this is, I'm trying to remember if this is the Seed and Sickle or if it's the Pacific Northwest, because the bags I made for them are very similar because I expected them to go together in my collection, and they didn't really go together in my collection, but the bags are similar now. And I believe this is the Seed and Sickle. Yes, it's a Seed and Sickle. All right, let's do a top down view. So the Seed and Sickle, absolutely stunningly beautiful artwork. And the gilding is really nice. This is the version, the limited edition version from Liminal 11. So it's got the gilding. And quite frankly, I almost wish I didn't go with this one. I wish I had gone with the mass market version that doesn't have the gilding, because this gilding kind of sucks, honestly. Like, it's that kind of gilding that kind of it chips for one, and it hurts your hands when trying to shuffle. And I feel like this deck would be much easier to shuffle if it didn't have this gilding. So, while I like the color, that copper color edging, I think it took away from the value of this deck, honestly, in my collection. But the artwork is absolutely stunning. I do like the single keyword, and it's a kind of single keyword where it's just saying what's on the card, like oleander or feverfew. And I know I'm not in line with whatever's being shown on the video right now. I'm just reading the cards that are in front of me, so it's probably not that one. So mushroom, blackthorn, things like that. And that might be a deterrent for a lot of people, because a lot of people like a lot of the different keywords, and sometimes I like that and sometimes I don't. But I think in general I kind of like that with this deck. I like that it's simple, and I like that the imagery in the background sort of hints at what the meaning may be. But here's the big issue that I have with this deck, and the reason why I'm probably going to rank this pretty low. The big issue I have with this deck is the 2 guidebooks. They're just, a lot of people like that, but I think it's gimmicky. I do. I think it's gimmicky, and it's obnoxious. It's so obnoxious when trying to use the guidebook, and there's 2 different guidebooks, and it like depends on what your purpose. Like, make that all part of one book. The obnoxiousness of it being into 2 books is just, well, obnoxious. So, yeah. All right. So, I think I'm going to rank this at 10. I think this is going to be my number 10 deck. So, we're going to put this Seed and Sickle, which I have 7, 8, 9, and 10 already filled up. So, I really hope there's not a deck in here that I dislike. And that also kind of makes me feel bad, because it kind of makes it seem like I don't like the decks in my collection, and that's not true. There are a few decks that I have in my collection that I actively dislike, but I like all of these decks. All of the ones that have been shown so far, I like these decks. None of them are in danger of like going out of my collection. That's not something I really like to do anyway. Yeah, but you know, I feel like some of the, like, now that I'm looking at this, I feel like maybe I could have brought Urban Crow and Grunge Tarot up a little bit, like 1 notch each. All right, well, it is what it is. I made my decision, so let's go ahead and move on to the next deck. Okay, so let's pull right here. Okay, it's a small deck. Oh, this is nice. This is my Ghibli Lenormand. All right, so this is not a deck that I can sell. I did make this deck. I had it printed on MakePlayingCards. It's not a deck I can sell. Let's look top down. So it's not a deck that I can sell or anything, because, you know, it's licensed imagery. But I really, really enjoy it. It's a deck, it's a Lenormand deck that I use quite frequently. Yeah, you know, I'm really happy I made this deck, and I made a few different sizes, but I only bought the 1 size. So eventually I'm going to go onto my MakePlayingCards account and go ahead and purchase myself the bridge size of, or is it bridge size, or, yeah, I think it's bridge size, the bridge size version of this. But I do really like this small square. When it comes to Lenormand, I really enjoy small decks when it comes to Lenormand, because the way I read Lenormand is Every reading that I do on Lenormand is a part of the grand tableau. So I see it as part of a grand tableau. So there aren't really different spreads that I use for Lenormand. Everything I do for Lenormand is within a grid, as if it's a grand tableau. So I enjoy Lenormand decks, or decks that I might read in a Lenormand-like style, that are smaller, so that I can lay out a grand tableau if I really want to. But yeah, so this is actually going to be pretty high. I think. Oh no! Do I want to put it in my top 2? Ooh. I think I might. I think I might put this at number 2, which will leave 1, 5, and 6. So, all right. So here we go. The Ghibli Lenormand. This is a deck I created myself. Ghibli Lenormand. All right. So I'm pretty happy with that. Of course, depends on what the last 3 decks are. So I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous about what the last 3 are. But I feel good about putting Ghibli Lenormand in the number 2 slot. All right, so let's go ahead and do the next deck. I'm going to grab this one that's way over here. All right, it's a kind of big. All right. Oh, okay. This is the Grimulkins, another MJ Cullinane deck. Not part of the same collection. It's its own thing. Like, you know, she's or they. I don't know MJ's pronouns, so I guess I'll go with they. They have so many decks, so, you know, and there's other decks of theirs that I want to get, but haven't gotten around to. But I have lots of MJ Cullinane decks. So let's go ahead and do top down of this. This is, of course, a cat deck, and it's pretty much my only cat deck. I love cats. I really do. I love cats, but I am more of a dog person. So I have a few dog decks versus cat decks. And I think this is the only one I actually have, because I know each of my kids have a cat deck, I believe. But I don't. So there is another cat deck that I'm kind of interested in getting in. I think it's by the same artist as the Oak Ash and Oak Thorn. And it's mass market, but I can't remember the name of the deck. That one I'm actually kind of interested in. So I might in the future add another cat deck. But right now, this is my cat deck. And I mostly associate this deck with the Irish goddess Anya for some reason. And I can't really explain exactly why. But yeah, and also this is the independent version, so I'm not crazy about the backs. This deck gives me a big summer vibe, whereas the backs feel very winter to me. And also the borders down at the bottom are gray. I wish they were a different color, probably orange, because there's a lot of orange cats in this deck, and orange coloring, and that's why I really kind of associate this with summer. It's very sunny, you know. There's a lot of like almost fiery, sunny flowers, garden sort of energy to this deck that I really associate with the summer. So, and it's also why I feel like it's very much a deck associated with Anya, because I honor her on the summer solstice. So yeah. All right, so let's rank this. Where are we going to put this? I think I'm going to put this at number 6, and I feel good about that. Yeah, that's a good spot. Let me just go ahead and put this away real quick. All right. I keep grabbing this. I hope I don't accidentally spoil these ones before I see them. So, number 6 is Grimulkin's Curious Cats. Okay, we're down to the final 2. We have slot number 1 and slot number 5 open. So I'm pretty excited, and I think they're right next to each other, so I'm just going to go in and we'll pull out a deck. Let's see what this one is. Oh my god, oh my god. No, I don't. I don't know what the last one is. Oh no. This is This is the Moon Crystal Tarot, which is a Sailor Moon themed deck. And my gosh, oh no. Because I'm a little nervous that the last deck is my Star Trek deck, which is what I would put in the #1 slot, barring, of course, my Anna K Tarot. If that's in there, then that's the #1 pick. But gosh, I kind of want to put this in #1. So let's look at the top down. All right, so I'm pulling it out of its box here, and I'll probably do the same on the top down. The box is a bit ripped because it's a tucked box, but it's the kind of tucked box that's kind of hard to open, so over time it has ripped. But I still keep it in the tuck box in the bag. Yeah, so this deck is pretty great. Pretty similar to that Alice in Wonderland themed deck. I was really looking for a Sailor Moon themed deck. And there's a lot of really cartoony ones out there, very childlike, kid-ish, but this one really caught my attention because it just feels very grown up. It feels like a grown-up Sailor Moon deck, and yeah. So, oh God, I'm really tempted to put this at #1. And which is making me nervous about what that last deck is. But yeah, so I really like I love seeing all the Sailor Moon characters. Sailor Moon has had a huge impact on my life. It's really the first anime that I really got into as a kid, and I'm a big fan of it. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's stood the test of time. It's got its problems, of course, and of course, I grew up on the American/Canadian version that was changed a lot, and it changed the queer relationship between Uranus and Neptune, changed that, made them cousins, which made several scenes in that show very confusing. Yeah, and there's other issues with the show that was, of course, created in the early 90s, or actually, was Sailor Moon technically created in the 80s? May have been. But of course, it came to the West, to the United States and Canada in the early 90s. And this is what I grew up with. I grew up with Sailor Moon. So, yeah, and this is a deck that I use. I feel like it's best suited for relationship-y type questions. Just general relationships, and not even just like romantic relationships, but also friendships, things like that. I think this deck does a very good job with that, because I feel like that's kind of the general theme of Sailor Moon. It's a show all about love, but really it's the love between your girlfriends, your female friends, like a female friendship sort of thing. But I'm gendering it there a little bit, but of course it's not specific to a gender. But I'm speaking as a cis woman here, so that's my relationship with Sailor Moon. It's that honoring friendships sort of energy, because there are relationships in the show, like romantic relationships, and that's the focus of a lot of the episodes and the storylines and things like that. But at the end of the day, it feels like the men in the story, or the romantic interests in the story, they're kind of just side characters. They're kind of just there. Like even Endymion or Tuxedo Mask, whatever. Even he's kind of a side character and sort of a useless superhero. But yeah, and the focus is the female friendships, I think. So anyway, and the cardstock is really nice. It's very easily shuffleable. It's got this kind of holographic gilding, which isn't super great. It doesn't hurt my hands to shuffle it, which is good. But it does kind of get a little chipped. So it's not as pretty as it was when it first arrived. All right, so am I going to take a risk with this one? I think I am. I think I'm going to put the Moon Crystal Tarot as my #1 deck, and which makes me very nervous about what that last deck is. So Moon Crystal Tarot. All right, everyone, drum roll. What is that last deck? Please don't be my Star Trek deck or Anna Kay, because neither one of those fits in the 5 slot. All right, here we go. Oh, what is this? I can, like, I'm feeling the embroidery on top. I'm like, oh, what is this? What is this? All right, let's pull it out. Oh, my dog deck. Oh, this is perfect, actually. I'm really happy about this. So this is my main dog deck. I have a couple, but this is my kind of everyday use dog deck. And let me show the bag real quick before we do the top down. Yeah, I embroidered the dog design on here. This was one design that I edited in my program because this dog was actually in the center, this German Shepherd, but I wanted to put the Beagle in the center because my dog, which I'm sure you've heard her going in and out of the dog door during the video, but my dog is a Harrier Hound, which is a they look like really big beagles. So basically any card or anything that has a beagle on it, I associate with my dog. So that's why I put the Beagle in the center. So let's go ahead and do the top down and let's look at this deck. All right, so the Barkana. This was a limited run deck. I believe it was a Kickstarter. I think I got it on Kickstarter. Yeah. And the creator only did one run of this. I don't know if they're going to do another one. They said they weren't. They said this was going to be it. So I don't know if they still have this deck available on their site. So you know, you can Google it. And I usually don't even put the decks in the descriptions. I'm sorry, I don't. But yeah, so, and I can say, oh, if I remember, I'll put it down below, but I'm not going to remember to do that. So yeah, you can look it up, look up the Barkana Tarot and see if they still have some of these. It's a really, really sweet deck. It's just straight up an RWS clone. So there was no guidebook with this, but you don't really need a guidebook. But I do wish that this had at least something that could tell us about the dog, whether that's the breed or the dog that was featured, because each of these dogs are the original creators' friends, family, and like backers, supporters. They had, it's their pets. So these are real pets that she did images of. And some of them, you know, are disabled animals. Some of them have passed away. So there's like some cards that have some angel wings on some of the dogs, which is sad, of course. But in general, this deck is not a sad deck at all. Even the tougher cards, you know, are still very sweet. Like, this is a good mood deck. This is a deck I pull out for some good mood type stuff. Like, if I just want to see cute dogs. Like, I don't necessarily get deep readings from this deck. It's just friendly, it's approachable, it's just nice. It's a nice deck. And the cardstock's pretty nice. The backs are fantastic. I absolutely love the backs of this deck. This is an easily shuffleable deck. I have no issues in that regard. It's very easily accessible for me. Yeah. All right, so I'm actually pretty happy with this going into the number 5 slot. It's right above the Grimalkins, which I think is fitting. I'm glad I didn't put Grimalkins at 5 because the Barkana, I definitely like that more. Barkana Tarot. So, okay, so let me put this away and then we can go through the list and see how I might reorder this. Okay, so I've removed the cloth and everything, so I'm looking at my list, and I'll have it also up on the screen so we can kind of go through it. We'll put the old list here or here because I think I have this reversed as I'm watching this, so that's why I'm not exactly looking at the camera. But yeah, so when I reverse it, it might be different. So I'm thinking on this side, I'm going to put what my list is, and then on this side, it's how I would reorder it. So here we go. So let's see. Is there anything that I would put in the top slot? Okay, so I've spent just a few moments kind of reordering this a little bit. So here are the new positions. And so I kept the first 4 the same. I was pretty happy with Moon Crystal as the top 1, Ghibli number 2, Wonderworld number 3. I'm really happy with that top 3. And then Goblins and Gardens at 4. I think that's great. So next, I did bring up the Urban Crow. I think, it was the first deck that I pulled out, and I wasn't sure where I was going to put it. So I put it like close to the middle because I was expecting some other decks. So I brought that up to a 5. So that's under Goblins and Gardens is the Grunge Tarot. Or not Grunge Tarot, the Urban Crow. Then is the Grunge Tarot. So after that, I picked the Grunge Tarot. I think that's right. I mean, I have some usability issues with that one. And there's some editing I want to do with that deck, some modifications. But in general, there's also a sentimental value, and I like the approach that deck took. So that is at number 6. Number 7 is Barcana. So it's just very happy, but it's very specific because it's not a deck that I can really get deep with, I don't think, or just not for me, at least in that regard. But it is a very happy deck. Makes me happy. It's very, I can use it, shuffle it just fine. So I like that one. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with keeping that at 7. And then under that, I've got Grimulkin's Curious Cats, which works. And let's see. And then 9 and 10 I kept the same as Fairy's Oracle and Seed and Sickle. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And the same sort of critiques that I gave those decks I think are about right. So I actually think I did pretty well on that. Because if the Star Trek Tarot or Anna Kay were in this, one of those would have been number 1. But yeah. All right, so that was a lot of fun. Thank you, Fairlight Tarot, for making this tag. Well, it's not really a tag. I might add tags because I imagine a lot of people might be searching for this one to watch. So I'll put some tags down below and see, like, maybe some people are searching for it there. But yeah, so this was a lot of fun. I have a bunch of decks I got to put away now, which is actually, I'm kind of happy about that because I needed to kind of go through them and reorganize anyway. So yeah, all right. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye!